Oh, here we go.
Afternoon, everyone. Get people to join, seeing the numbers going up. Welcome. Welcome, everyone. As you start to connect, if you want to just pop in the chat to make sure that you can hear us okay and that you can see us. Good afternoon. Nice to meet you all. If you just join in, just want to say hi in the chat just to make sure that you can hear me okay. Here we are. The influx comes in now. Hi, everyone who's joining. Hope you can hear me okay. If you just want to say hi in the chat so I know that everybody can hear me. Just give it another minute. We're not exactly on 2 o'clock. Got a few people more joining now. If you just want to say hi in the chat. Brilliant. Just got a couple more people I can see just logging in now. So welcome to everyone who's joined. Just to make sure that you can hear me, just if you want to pop hi in the chat, so just make sure that I'm coming through loud and clear. I go off to start and then I'll get a couple more people, the numbers rising. So welcome everyone, hope you can hear me. I'm going to get started as we've got a lot to cover this afternoon. So welcome to our webinar on Your Return to Tech with Booking.com for the programme which is starting in December this year. So in terms of what I'm going to cover and the team are going to cover this afternoon is that I'm going to give you a bit of an overview of the team, a bit of an overview of why tech returners exist, so a bit of history. Then we'll go into a bit more detail about the Your Return to Tech programme. We're going to meet Booking.com and the amazing workforce in terms of finding out a little bit more about the roles and what it's like to work there. I'm going to talk a bit about the application process, and then we have a section where you can meet 2 of our previous returners and find out about their experience, one at Booking.com and also one who has completed the programme. And then there's a section at the end if you've got any questions that you would like to ask. If you do have a question and you want to pop it in the chat, we'll make sure we do come to it, but you can obviously save those questions towards the end as well. So just want to welcome you all. I am Becky. I am CEO and co-founder here at Tech Returners, and alongside myself is our amazing Tech Returners team, some of which you'll meet during the course of the afternoon. So James, who you'll meet briefly, talking about the programme, is our CTO and also co-founder. Matt, who is our head of talent and who you have been applying for the programme, will have spoken to him over the past couple of weeks. And then we have, as part of James's technical coaching team, we've got Ellie, Kim and Heather. Heather was actually one of our first ever tech returners back in 2017, and now she pays it forward and provides technical coaching and support for our returners. Then we have the people that hold the business together, the glue as we call them. So Emily, I'm sure you've received communications from Emily through Breezy, and also Kerry and Victoria. And then our wonderful marketing team, Natasha, Robin and Natalie, who make in terms of the social and probably the route in which you saw the programme on social media. So that is the Tech Returners team. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about why Tech Returners exists. So the whole vision of the organisation was formed out of my own personal experience. My background is people, HR and technology, and I've been involved in scaling high growth businesses, tech businesses through the value of people for the past 18 years. I left my career just over 9 years ago for a short-term career break to have my first child, Ethan. And it was my first experience of understanding the challenge of coming out and then coming back into such a fast-paced sector such as technology. At the time, I sat on a leadership team of 13, being the only woman, but then realizing that I was the only parent, and understanding the impact a career break can have on not only in terms of your network, in terms of your skill set, but most importantly, your confidence. So James and I, back in 2017, got our heads together and we came up with an idea around supporting people returning to technology after a career break. And since then, we've enabled over 120 careers back into technology, and 65% of these being women. And we're definitely not stopping there. So as I said, back in 2017, James and I came up with an idea and we ran 2 pilot projects to see whether there was an actual opportunity in the market. So we put out some social media posts, we gave up some of our time, and we ran 2 trial cohorts, one of which I've just talked about. Heather was on, who's now a front-end engineer, an auto trader, and we had previous other successes such as people going into AO.com, Auto Trader, and Think Money. As then that progressed, we knew that we had a model, but we wanted to remain true to our core value, which is accessibility. So as you are aware, we do not charge a returner to come onto the program, and it's something that's very, very important to us. So we started to form commercial partnerships up with companies such as Booking.com, and have models where we upskill people looking to return to technology and enable them to then transition into roles within supporting organizations. Back in 2019 was our first interaction with Booking.com, and you will hear from Carly later on, who was on that program, and listening to how she's progressed within Booking over that period of time. And we're actually really excited to welcome Booking.com back after the huge success of the first cohort. Earlier this year, we gained traction into London and started to look at programs in the south as well as fully remote. So we're just actually near enough in the midst of concluding our first fully remote program across the UK as well. So we have seen significant growth over the past 4 years, and it's actually our 4th birthday this Sunday, which is absolutely amazing. So watch out on social for a few celebrations from the team around that. So as I mentioned, the program is completely free for you to come and upskill and to develop you. And we provide opportunities for you to engage with our sponsor and support you in applying for roles within Booking.com. And what we ask for you in return, so if you're looking to apply for the program, is that you complete the full program and apply to roles within our sponsor, Booking.com. And you will commit to 30 to 35 hours per week to the program. And this is focused around technical upskilling and also career readiness upskilling, which I'll focus on in a little bit more detail later on. So I'll pass over to James, who will talk you through his technical team.
Yeah, Bill, thanks, Becca. So Becky covered the team, and this portion that you're seeing here is the engineering team that will be working with you on your return to tech on the program. It's actually bigger, isn't it? We were just about to we've got a few people joining the team as well. It's a key focus for us that the people that deliver on the program are engineers themselves. So as well as kind of the tech coaching aspect, we're all active software engineers, as are people that are joining us actually working on the program. The reason for me sharing this is that the feedback on the program that our team deliver and help you develop yourselves throughout the program is really key to us. And we take a lot of kind of time to deliver actionable feedback for people as you develop through the program and use the different frameworks that we cover. So yeah, there's a number of people on hand to support you as you return, the people of which you can see there up on the screen. And then talking about the structure of the program itself, key really around the program, Becky touched on it a little bit around our history, but is both the blend of technical and personal development. We run a number of sessions around things like interview readiness, career readiness, growth mindset, as well as the technical skill sets. Program itself, it starts off with pre-journey, which is 2 weeks in duration. In this curriculum, actually, it falls a little bit longer. It runs over Christmas, so you actually get a little bit longer for pre-journey because the next stages start at the start of January. But there's a mixture of technical tasks to work through, just to really set yourselves up for a great start to the program. And it means we can get motoring straight away as we move into the fundamentals section. So next one. So pre-journey wise, you can see there, it says 17th. So it kind of, the 2 week period stops there, but of course you can continue to work through any pre-journey exercises, although, you know, we'll let people allowed to have a Christmas as well. Then the start of the new year, 10th of January is fundamentals. And then we go into 4 weeks of that, and then 4 weeks of back-end development, and then following that, as you can see on the dates on the slide, is interviews with booking.com and the booking recruitment processes. So in fundamentals, really, it's a mixture of hands-on engineering, but also coding practices. So some of the things like data structures, algorithms, we cover things like dropping a bit of big O notation and things there, and reaffirming algorithms, talk about design principles, test-driven development and testing, and that collaboratively working as engineers, where we touch on things like kind of agile, pair programming, some of the ecosystems and processes that you might experience in your return to tech and around booking.com. And then as we move through to backend, that's where we're going to probably deeper frameworks with the language specific frameworks that are being utilized, advanced programming, communicating with data, consuming data, provisioning databases on the cloud and utilizing those and consuming them from an application code base. You'll be writing your own APIs and testing those in both an automated fashion and manual fashion. We also touch on design principles and design patterns. So a lot of well-known kind of design patterns for solving engineering problems, and finish off with an introduction to DevOps, where we talk about DevOps as a theme. We talk about cloud infrastructure and things like containerization, where you'll use Docker to containerize the API that you've made. And we finish off with some enterprise architecture patterns, things like event-based systems and understanding what they mean and the choices it leaves us with. In terms of the coaching itself, it's all remotely delivered over Zoom, and the tool we use where we store all the material, all the recordings of the sessions and all the kind of tasks for you to complete is in Google Classroom. And you get access to that. All those sessions are recorded for you to re-watch as well. We mix individual, group and pairing work just to give you that kind of experience of focused deep learning on an individual level, but also then group working, understanding each other. There's sections where you feedback on each other's code as well, so you get that chance to read code as well as write it. Dedicated support from our team, so that you'll join a cohort Slack channel, and we really encourage you asking questions in there, because the whole cohort then can can share their thoughts as how they might approach something as well. But there's a dedicated Slack instant messaging channel for us, and we're here to support you as well as Zoom calls. You know, we're more than happy to jump on one-to-ones and talk people through things. And then the key, I mentioned it earlier around the team, the key to us is clear and actionable feedback. So we'll always kind of talk through different approaches, how you've solved something, looking to understand how you've approached it so that we can steer or guide and actually say, yeah, actually the way you've approached it, that looks right because of X, Y, and Z, and give that actionable feedback for you. Session times. So they're largely 10 until 12, where you'll be on Zoom with your cohort and with a tech coach running a session. And mention there, you see that core hours, 10 till 3. They're the times that we're around if you've got any questions. They're the times you'd probably want to keep in your mind that you might be working on tasks following a session. But the time where you're on a session is you largely 10 till 12. There are the odd sessions outside of that, but mainly it's 10 till 12. And it's between 2 and 4 days a week. So most of the weeks you'll probably find yourselves in 3 sessions, 10 till 12, kind of roughly 3. There's a couple of weeks that have 2 sessions, but 10 till 12, keep that, and 10 till 3 being the core hours. That remaining time outside of the session, that's on your schedule. So I've said core hours 10 till 3, but that is your schedule to work how it needs to. So if you've done your session 10 till 12 and then you've got some individual work to do and you work better in the evenings and that works better for you, or you've got parental caring responsibilities at certain times, if that works better for you, that work outside of the schedule is on your schedule. And it is busy. So that kind of final bullet point there is really, we can put hours to it, but you get out what you put into the program, and we'll support you with, like I mentioned, feedback. But it is a busy program. We do cover a lot of topics, but you do really get out what you put in. So we put those hours up there really just to let people know the kind of commitment that the program is. But it's really rewarding. You're going to hear from people. You're going to hear from Carly and Ellie in a moment around the program itself. And of course, at the end of it, the goal is, careers that you absolutely love with Booking.com.
Thanks, James. So as well as obviously the technical upskilling, I talked a lot about, my barriers around the confidence. So as important the technical upskilling is, we focus very much on career readiness as well. So myself and Matt run the career readiness aspect. And what you can expect from that development is around one-to-ones. So you'll have a one-to-one with myself and Matt. And also in terms of, we've took a really huge leap forward and made a stance in terms of removing the CV. So as I speak to returners on a day-to-day basis, there's a lot of biases around CVs, around dates and career gaps, etc. So each company and sponsor like Booking.com that we work with going forward, we now produce a returner profile. So a returner profile highlights your skills, experiences without the date. So just highlighting the value that you can contribute to the organization rather than have those biases around those gaps. We support you around interview preparation. So previous to this webinar, I've just been on a workshop with a previous cohort that all focused around their interview, of understanding how best we can support you, both from behavioural interview to a technical interview, and also confidence. And something that we really focus here at Tech Returners is all around growth mindset. So right from week 1, we focus around what is growth mindset, how we can adapt that throughout the program, and give you tools and techniques in terms of how to develop that over a period of time. So now I'll pass over to Matt, who will talk more about our sponsor.
Perfect. Thank you, Becky. Hello, everybody. I'm Matt, Head of Talent. Hopefully, some of you have met me already on our screening and assessment centres. I'm delighted to introduce you to the Booking.com Booking.com team today. But before we do, we're going to work very closely with Booking.com over the course of the program. You'll have lots of opportunity to meet with them. First of all, in the second week of the pre-journey, there are company presentations where you'll have a high-level overview of why Booking.com are involved in the program, along with other presentations around their engineering teams and what it's like to work for them. We'll then move into an array of lightning talks, really unique opportunities to go into specialized conversations around what it'll be like to work there, what it's like to be an engineer, the technology, their D&I initiatives, their interview processes, all of this rich, really valuable information that will help you on your journey to hopefully becoming an engineer at Booking.com at the end of the process. And then at the end of the program, we have a celebration event where we all come together with the Booking.com and Tech Returners team to celebrate the success that you've had and your future careers. So moving on, I'd like to introduce you to Booking.com. We're joined today by Austin, Maya, Andrew, Becky, Carly, Will, and Emma. So I'd like to invite you to turn your cameras on and we'll just go through a couple of questions that we have for the Booking.com team. So to start off with, first question, why are Booking.com investing in the Returner program for the second time? Who would like to take that?
I'll go ahead and take that. So my name is Austin Shepard, and I'm the VP of Engineering here at Booking.com for our Trips business unit. A quick answer is why not? I mean, it's just such an amazing thing, both for the participants as well as for us as a company and a team, and it's just the right thing to do, isn't it? It's not only an amazing thing to be able to welcome an amazing group of talent back into their career at the right time in their life, but it's an amazing recruitment channel for us as well, and such an incredible way for us to be able to increase our diversity in tech. I'm super thrilled about how many women are part of this program, and bringing women into the technology workforce is not always a very easy thing to do with normal traditional recruitment channels, right? And it's a big goal of not only mine, but Booking.com's to have a more and more diverse workforce. And that means gender diversity and other diversity as well. Not only because it's the right thing to do, but it actually helps us as a company with better ideas, better experience, better understanding of our customers and everything else. I've said before that lives are not linear, and so career paths don't need to be linear either. They shouldn't be, right? And careers in technology in particular are all about continuous learning and development. The things that I learned in university about tech 30 years ago, back in the 1990s, they're not the same things that I use in my job day to day right now. These things can be learned, right? And so I'm a big believer that this is a great thing for us as well as the participants.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Austin. Really appreciated that. And obviously, welcome to Booking. I think you've been with the team for 5 or 6 months. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. I started with Booking back at the beginning of June. I started remotely myself back in China. I spent the last 10 years of my life living in China, actually in Shanghai and Beijing. And whilst I was figuring out how to do a international relocation in the middle of a global pandemic, I started remotely. But I've moved to the UK, to lovely sunny Manchester about 2 months ago, and I'm really loving it here.
Amazing. Well, I think Manchester's voted the best city in the world in the UK, so you've chosen a good place to come to. So welcome and thank you very much for joining us. Moving on, the culture was mentioned briefly there. What's the culture like at Booking.com?
I would like to take, if I can take that question.
Of course you can.
Yes, thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is Maya Borotanedic, and I'm Director of Engineering for Car Rental Vertical. And I'm super excited that we are running this program again. So let me start answering this question by using my example first. I have been with Booking for over 8.5 years now, and one of the main reasons for staying this long is because of the inclusive culture and strong values that at Booking we all have here. One of our core values is investment in our people and helping them to grow within our organization. We offer various learning options and resources, from training courses to learning within the teams, or through coaching or mentoring programs. There are many success stories about career progression here. If we look at the car rental org, for example, there are 6 senior engineering managers who are my direct reports. 4 of them are internal promotions. I myself joined the company as a senior development manager, but stepped up to the director role 4 years ago. So there are many examples on all levels: developers, senior developers, and so on. There are many success stories, and I'm super proud that that's the case. If we look at our ways of working, they are based on collaboration and trust by default. We encourage teams to work together through mobbing and pairing. We celebrate success. That is super important as well. We will also make sure we have time for well-being and look how to re-energize our teams. If we again look example, we had a well-being month in May, and we had 2 extra days in addition to our normal, annual allowance, which is amazing. So there are many kind of these great values that we share across the business. And the last one that is actually one of my favorite ones is doing the right thing. We as a business will always try to get the right result in the right way. And that applies to any and every context, whether we are talking to each other, whether we are kind of trying to solve the problem or talk to business partner or look at the world around us. So I hope this was a useful, and it gave you some idea and flavor of what the culture is at Booking, and I'm very proud of.
Amazing. Thank you, Maya. Really appreciate that insight and overview. And congratulations on being there for nearly, is it 9 years?
It's nearly 9 years in March, yes.
Amazing. Thank you so much indeed. Moving on then nicely to engineering. How big are the engineering teams at Booking.com?
I'll pick this one up. So, hi everyone, I'm Andrew. I'm another engineering director. I look after the Rise part of the business. I've been with Booking for about 5 years, not quite as long as Maya, but I've done a decent sized stint here as well. So it's an interesting question, I suppose. So all of us from Booking today are from the Trips business unit, and we're predominantly based in Manchester. So we've probably got 200, 250, 300 people in the org. The most of us work in Manchester, but we've got a small group of people in London, and we've also got some people in Amsterdam. But then we're also part of Booking.com, who are an enormous organisation. So we're part of Trips. If you look at accommodation, where the main hotel business is, they are probably 1,000, 1,500 engineers, based mostly in Amsterdam. So you've got the mix of small team and also big organisation. When you join us, you'll join what we call a product team, which is the kind of the basic unit of how the engineering team works, and that is normally 6 people in that, and that covers product manager, engineering manager, 4 engineers, not typically, and a test engineer, and they work together. We give them a problem space, and we give the team a lot of autonomy to figure out what they should be doing to help solve that problem. And then we'll also group teams that are working on similar problems into product groups, and then we have product families, which is where the top level things are. So my product family, for instance, is Rides, which is the taxi part of the business. And we do airport transfers and public transport predominantly. Will's from insurance, which is our travel insurance product. Maya's talked about cars, which is probably the biggest group inside Manchester. But we've also got attractions and flights who are based in Amsterdam as well. So there's lots of different products that we're all working on, but your team is given the autonomy to help deliver the things that we want to do within the problems we ask you to look at.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Andrew. It's great that you've such large teams, but also kind of smaller teams with like those cultures within such a large organization. Sounds absolutely amazing. Thank you very much. Moving on, we're going to look at the onboarding process. So what's the onboarding process at Booking.com after one of the engineers has secured a role, please? Who'd like to take that?
Yeah, I'll take this one, please.
Thanks, Will.
Okay. So I guess to introduce myself as well, by the way, I'm Will. So I'm a senior engineering manager in the insurance family. So I've been here not quite as long as Andrew, but pushing 5 years now. So I've been here a little while. Just following on from what Andrew said, our family is one of these funny ones that has colleagues in Manchester, works with colleagues in Amsterdam, and potentially other areas of kind of the trips business unit as we go on. So just to kind of back up that point, that we are a very highly distributed product family, and I think all the better for it. But in terms of onboarding, I think the first thing to mention is realistically we're talking remote. Strange times we live in, but the good news is we think we've got pretty good at it. So if I'm going to start from the beginning and the nuts and bolts and how we actually get you online. Realistically, your manager will reach out 1 or 2 days before. Realistically, this is going to be sort of Thursday, Friday before you start on a Monday, that kind of thing, just to kind of check in with you, make sure you're ready, make sure that service desk have been in touch with you, have arranged delivery of your laptop, that kind of thing. Next stage is your Mac arrives, which is a joyous occasion. Usually pretty good. The setup of the Macs is really, really straightforward. Now we've got an excellent IT service desk. It will usually 9 times out of 10 just work out of the box. And there's kind of remote programs already installed on the Mac itself, which will do all that for you. If you have any issues at all, you simply ring one of the help desk people who'll talk you through it. Very, very smooth. Once we've got the Mac out to you and we've got you connected onto our network, the first job that we have is to get you online and in contact with your team. Your team is kind of the core of the support that we're going to give you. And as soon as you can get involved and online and talking to your team, you can start to get your head around what is it that your team does. Who are the people that are in your team? How do you get set up? How do you debug certain things? How do you make sure you've got the right tooling, the right permissions, all that kind of thing? Soon as we can get you onto Slack, onto Zoom, onto Workplace, that's kind of how we get you going. Once you're connected with your track, you've got set up. Once you've got connected with your team, you've got set up, you've spoken to your manager. I kind of see it in three areas or 3 tracks, right? So the first one is tooling and environment. Like I said before, your team is going to help you with that kind of thing. But we're talking here about things like IDEs, repositories, permissions, static analysis tools, database access, that kind of thing. Requirements are going to be highly specific to the team that you've joined, and your team will help you with those. We have enterprise licenses for everything that we need to have. The tooling's pretty good here, and we'll get you set up with that as soon as possible, as well as keeping that updated as you kind of progress and there's different things that you need. Second track I've called kind of product team ways of working. So as early as possible, without wanting to overwhelm you, we will get you talking to your product manager, as well as your team, to kind of understand what is it that your product team and your product group and your product family does. What are the problems that you're trying to solve? What is the work that you've got on in your current sprint? What is happening right now? Some of this will be a bit of a sit down conversation. This is what we own. This is where we want to go. Some of this is going to be by osmosis. Start joining the team stand-ups, refinement, sprint planning. Join in. Start pairing with people, even if you're more of a backseat driver at this point. A lot of our teams will mob. If you've heard about that, great. If not, you will soon enough. A lot of our teams do it, but essentially this is when everybody works on the same problem at the same time. So we want to get you involved in actually the problems that the team are trying to solve as early as we possibly can. And the last one is kind of ongoing, which is engineering craft. So the first thing to note about that is there are some workshops and introductory sessions which engineering runs. So these will cover things like architecture, testing, the general kind of domain space, agile coaching, all those kind of things. So they are put on for all of our new starters, and it would be no different from you. But on an ongoing basis, you are supported by your team as well as your line manager and the engineering community. And what we're talking about here is we're talking about your ongoing craft development, for want of a better phrase. So your team will offer coaching, mentoring. Often a team will assign you a buddy or a coach from within your team. Sometimes it might be from somebody else in the product group. But specifically in terms of your own personal development, and your line manager, engineering manager, as well as your senior engineering manager, so myself and my colleagues, we're responsible for making sure that your ongoing development is supported. So realistically, what does that look like? It looks like, at a minimum, weekly one-to-ones, where you will kind of talk about some pastoral stuff. How are you? You know, are there any concerns? Is there anything I can help you with? There might be some operational type stuff if that's what you want to talk about, but a lot of that will be focused on your own development, your own reflections about how things are going. Might be some kind of back and forward reflection and advice, that kind of thing, as well as having conversations and feedback around objectives, growth, that kind of thing. Once you've got in and got set up, you will be given a 30, 60, 90 program, 30, 60, 90 day program, sorry. And this is usually a little bit of a pathway of things that we would expect you to start looking at as you settle in. Okay, so the first 30 days are going to be things like make sure you're set up with your environments, make sure that you kind of connected with your team. Maybe we would give you some names of people to go and introduce yourself to. You know, I know especially on Carly's side, because we interact quite heavily with the accommodations side of the business, and there is a dizzying amount of people that we work with. Sometimes there might be a requirement for your first 30 days to just kind of get used to who everybody is and what they do. 60 days, we're probably more into the nuts and bolts of starting to contribute, but also starting to have an idea of what your personal development and your objectives are going to look like, and we'll start to have a better idea of the areas where we need to offer you additional opportunities, support, coaching, training, that kind of thing. And then 90 days, we're really into the swing of things, and we look to transition you away from the initial setup period and into the kind of ongoing kind of performance review cycle, where we're setting objectives and we're working towards a personal development plan, same as any other engineer. I mentioned very, very briefly personal development plans. Well, I mentioned it a couple of times actually, and that's because they're very important. So every developer in engineering, and actually every person within Trip's business unit, will have a personal development plan, which is it's built between you and your line manager. So you're both contributing to it. You will have time to work on that personal development plan. The areas and the kind of ways in which you work on that, they depend on what it is that you feel that you need to learn, that you want to learn, areas of interest. So it kind of depends where we are, but there will be some things which are driven by kind of feedback, things that your manager and your colleagues have noticed. But there will be some things which have maybe caught your interest, or things that on reflection you found that you want to explore a little bit more or dig into, and that kind of thing. And that's where we go into kind of ongoing coaching, mentoring, career progression stuff. And that's kind of it. There's a physical onboarding, but you're never offboarded, right? Career progression, coaching, mentoring, that goes on at every level throughout your career here.
Fantastic. really in depth. Thank you very much. And I love the constant team. It's great to hear that they're always going to be working together within a team and have that onboarding support. So thank you very much. Was there any other pointers from the booking team on the onboarding? No, fantastic. So just going to move on to our last question. What support do you have in place for returners joining booking.com? Who'd like to take that?
So I can take that one. I'm Becky, I'm Senior People Business Partner. So I work with our engineering teams and also our product teams and related crafts at Booking. So it really builds on what Will's been talking about, actually, because we have a culture which is incredibly supportive. So some of our values are things like succeed together, learn forever, and that applies to absolutely everybody. So specifically for everybody, but we would also give a particular focus to returners on this. We have things such as, for example, a mentoring program where somebody can either put themselves forward as a mentor or find a mentor from absolutely anywhere across booking.com globally. We've also got the ability to do that more locally as well, as Will spoke about. So there are things that, so what we will do is very much tailor it to what people need. So there's all the ongoing support and development that Will spoke about, but also some global things too. So for example, we have things like a portal called Be Well, which is our wellbeing portal. So it has a whole host of resources on there, things like webinars that people can dial into. We just had Mental Health Awareness Month, so we had a number of different connection cafes, external speakers come and talk to us there. We also have, we call them employee resource groups. So they're essentially our diversity groups, which then enable people to connect with individuals from other areas of the business who might want to be involved in a similar group, depending on things that are important to them, or communities that they might be part of, and their lives in general. So we've got a number of different things like that also. So we really do tailor it for people as tech returners when you come into the business, because we recognise that you have all worked as developers before. It isn't structured in the way, for example, we also have a graduate programme where it's a very structured programme once you join Booking. For the people coming in as tech returners, once you've done your initial upskilling, you will become part of a team. We will provide you support, of course, but it isn't kind of a structured programme where we then rotate you around the business or anything like that. So you get access to all the huge amounts of global support that people have got, but we will also tailor that on an individual basis, just depending on what somebody's individual development needs, aspirations are, etc. So I could probably talk for a whole webinar about the kind of support that Booking provides, but that gives you a bit of an overview of the things that we have. Things like access to an employee assistance program where you can get counselling, just all kinds of things like that to support with personal things as well as work related development too.
Amazing.
Your job. So if anybody else has got anything to add, then please do, but that's my overview of it.
Fantastic, thank you very much. At Booking.com team, thank you very much for those real insights and answers to those questions. So yeah, thank you very much for joining us. And if anybody has any further questions for the Booking.com team, please do pop them in the chat. We'll host those at the Q&A. But now we'll just move on to the application process and how to apply. If we can move to the next screen, please. Amazing. So for those of you that haven't already applied and are considering to do so, you'll receive an application form which will ask you to complete. Please do provide as much detail as you can on that, as that really does help us assess your application. Things like LinkedIn, GitHubs, CVs, reasons for applying to Booking.com, all of that information is really, really valuable. So please do give a detailed application form. Then you'll receive a call from one of the members of the team who will talk you through the application process and will answer any initial questions that you have that haven't been answered today. We'll then move on to a technical task. Now that can seem a little daunting, but please be rest assured, it's designed to catch you in, not to catch you out. It merely helps us understand the level of technology skills that you currently have and what additional support you might need over the course of the programme. So please do give it a go. As I say, it's there as a measure, not to catch you out. We'll then move on to our assessment centre. Like the rest of the programme and the application process, it will be remote. And that's where you'll meet other members of the Tech Returners team going through your behavioural and a pair programming exercise. Again, those assessments are designed to help us understand where you might need further support across your behaviours and your competencies, as well as your technical skills. And it gives you a true sense of what you're going to experience over the course of the programme. Then, if successful, you'll be offered a conditional place on the pre-journey, and then hopefully a firm offer for the Booking.com programme. So thank you very much, and I will take any further questions on the onboarding process at the end. And I'd now like to hand back over to Becky for the return of Helen. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Matt, and thank you for the Booking.com team. That was really insightful. You've definitely sold it to me anyway. So I really want to now introduce you to our two returners. So Carly and Ellie are previous tech returners who are now in situ within their roles. Carly, a welcome from 2019. Couldn't believe it's that long ago. It doesn't seem 5 minutes. Was on a Tech Returners program and is now enrolled within Booking.com. So you hear about her experience of actually transitioning to Booking. And Ellie was on our London program last year and now is Associate Software Engineer at Eigen Technologies down in London. So we'll hear about more her experience around the program in general. So if I could just introduce Carly. My question to you, Carly, is obviously we had the pleasure of obviously having you on the programme back in 2019. So if you could give people a little bit of an insight about what your journey and your experience has been like since then, about your transition into Booking.com and how has that sort of developed over the past couple of years?
Hi, yes, thank you, Becky. Hello, everybody. I'm Carly. As Becky said, I did the Booking cohort a couple of years ago. It was at that stage, it was a programme for people who were transitioning into tech, but I was also a returner in that I'd spent 20 years out of the industry. I went to train as an actor and work as an actor for 20 years, but wanted to return. So I joined the programme and was successful in getting a role with Booking. And I mean, to start with, it was very eventful. My very first day, I staggered into the offices of Booking and lay down on the floor, begging for a first aider because I'd trapped my thumb in the taxi door, and was met by a lovely first aider who was also running the induction programme. I then shared with my colleagues 3 days in the office before Booking asked everybody to go and work from home a week before it became government policy. So, I mean, in terms of shared experience with my colleagues, there was quite an early bonding experience. However, it was still, you know, getting into a job, getting back into an industry that I'd not worked in for a long time. And it was wonderful. I really, really enjoyed it. I joined an amazing team in the car insurance team. And gosh, since then I joined, I didn't go straight in as a software dev because of the length of time I'd been away from the industry, but I learned so much. The learning curve was just so incredibly steep, especially in those first few months. And then with a lot of support, I got a promotion to software developer, software engineer this year. And gosh, yes, it's nearly 2 years, isn't it? I can't believe how the time has flown. It's been, I've really enjoyed it.
Yeah, your development's not stopped there, has it? You know, Booking have really supported you in additional development. As you know, as I know that you've obviously come back to ourselves and done one of our DevOps upskill programs. So how does Booking support you in terms of your learning and development?
Right, yeah, I think as somebody touched on it, continuous learning at Booking is one of the tenets of the company. It's really, really valued. And there are a lot of resources out there in order to that are made available to you in order to be able to achieve that. There are many there's a portal for many online courses that you can look up. You get allocated time every week, a couple of hours every week is set aside for you to do some training on whatever you choose. My manager's been very supportive of my development goals, and that included being allowed to go and do, as Becky mentioned, the DevOps upskill course, which was Fridays. Was it about, how many Fridays was it? 8 Fridays?
6 Fridays.
6 Fridays in total. So I did that. There's also I've been on several AWS courses that have been run by external presenters. And I think also has been mentioned, it's the team. The team is very important for supporting your learning. There was a post recently on the Booking Workplace, which is like a Facebook for work. If I don't know, people might be familiar with that. I wasn't until I joined, but there was a post about how important it is within teams to knowledge share. And that's really, really held very dear. I found at the start pairing to be very, very useful. We did mob as a team, but I asked that I was allowed to pair with somebody, because when you're new, it's a lot easier to learn from one person than to try to learn from the whole mob. And my manager was very supportive in that. And he was also very supportive in giving me time. I'd just say, right, I just need to go and do some training and some upskilling on that now, on that topic that we're covering at the moment. So yeah, there are many resources available in order to upskill and to keep your training going. And it's still really important, even though I'm a software dev, to keep that going.
Oh, that's brilliant. That sounds amazing to hear. And, I touched upon it at the beginning, and you just highlighted your gap of being 20 years. How did the course and the program and also Booking help in terms of build your confidence back up, in terms of that, it's one of the questions I get asked a lot, I don't necessarily have the confidence. How can I get the confidence to return? What did that look like to you in terms of the support that you were provided with?
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, I think ultimately, dev is dev. It's like the same skills are going to be needed that you've got in terms of analysis, communication, some kind of technical skills. But one of the big things is the tools will probably have changed. And for me, that was a big thing. Just learning about where the industry is now, the kind of key parts of the industry. For me, I didn't have a clue what an API was. It was like I knew some Java from 20 years ago, but I never heard of an API and things like that. So the technical training was really solid. It brought me up to speed, and that gave me the confidence that, tech returners know what they're talking about. They know the industry, so they can pass those skills on and give you the knowledge to bring you up to speed on where you need to be. In addition, there was the kind of soft skills side, I know you're not doing the CV now, but the whole kind of CV and interview prep skills that really gave me confidence in terms of walking into an interview. And also just the kind of honest support and the ability to ask any question of people who know what they're talking about, honestly. I wanted to ask the daft questions. I can say this now because I've got a job, but I wanted to ask the daft questions to tech returners so that I didn't ask them once I got into the interview room with Booking, and I felt very supported in terms of that.
Brilliant, thank you. And finally, what's your best thing about working for Booking?
Can I say the discount on accommodation? Obviously, that's no. I mean, that's part of it. It's something that Maya was talking about, and it's the culture, and they really do walk the walk. It's do the right thing is one of the company values, and it's easy to have company values, but you can see that coming all the way from the top and all the way down the company. You can see how important that is. It's very important to Booking to treat their employees well, and I see that. I see that with the focus on mental health, the focus on training, the focus on perks, the focus on, really looking after employees. And I think they recognise that people are their asset, so they know that doing the right thing is the right thing to do. But also, there's huge recognition that is what makes a business successful as well. So it's, it really is bedded in, it's baked into who Booking are. And I think also by virtue of that, and from what I've seen, that seems to attract the right people, because I've really enjoyed all the people that I've met and worked with at Booking.com. Are great colleagues.
That's lovely to hear. And that very much sounded very true from the heart, that, Carly. You know, it wasn't something you read. You could actually feel that, you know, that's what you genuinely believe. So that's lovely to hear. So thank you very much.
Yeah.
Ellie, could I come to you next? So Ellie, as I mentioned, you were on one of our previous Your Return to Tech programs. Would you be able to tell the people on the webinar a little bit about your background and also what led you to join the program?
Yeah, so I worked in tech like quite a long time ago. I was on the customer success kind of account manager side, and I was always pretty interested in what the developers were doing, but I just didn't have the knowledge to be able to do it at the time. And then I left my job at the end of 2015 to go on maternity leave, and I didn't go back to my previous job, but I took a break. And during that time, I basically learned to code in JavaScript and learned as much as I could about web development, and did a few kind of like I guess self-employed gigs. And I heard about the Tech Returners, I think initially when they first launched in 2017, and it was in Manchester and I was down south, and also I was just learning. I thought sounds like a great program. I really hope I can do that one day. And then luckily around, I think it was July last year, they launched a program in London, and I was looking for a job. And I thought, great, now is my time. I'm going to apply. And I did. And I got on, and it was amazing.
Yeah, brilliant. And just to explain to everyone what's your role now? What are you actually doing at Eigen now?
I'm an associate software engineer, and I work primarily on the front end of the product. So I'm doing a lot of work with the UI, bug fixing, doing sort of building new features. At the moment, we're looking to really build on the accessibility of the product. So I've had a lot of work towards doing that, which has been really interesting. Also, they like you to branch out with new things continually. So I've also been getting my hands dirty with a bit of Python and Kubernetes as well. So as we all work in squads and we work across like vertical slices, so there's a lot of opportunity to kind of like branch out on what your skills are.
Oh, brilliant. Sounds fantastic. And if you had to summarize, lastly, in terms of your best bits about the program, so people can get a little bit of insight about what to expect, what would that be?
Oh, it's really hard to choose. It was a really fantastic experience. I felt so supported throughout in terms of like working on my technical skills and understanding like the software fundamentals, which I didn't really know anything about until I did the program. And also the soft skills, having the chance to build up our confidence, and again learn that there's no such thing as a stupid question, have interview tips and everything like that, and also just getting the chance to work with some really interesting people as well from lots of different backgrounds. Like the whole thing was really hard work, but I enjoyed every minute.
Brilliant. Thank you both, Carly and Ellie, for your insight in terms of the programme and also working at Booking. Before we go on to the final section where we'll open up the Q&A, we've also got another message from one of our previous returners, who, Shahana, is front-end developer at The Telegraph. She wanted to be here on the webinar. Unfortunately, due to work commitments, she couldn't do so. She recorded a little message for us. Play it. It's not playing. I don't think I ever play button, but we will get that fixed, and when we send out the recording to you, we'll make sure that on the slides it is recording, but there's no actual play button, so apologies for that. So we'll move now on to the Q&A. So if I could just stop sharing, and we'll go through a number of the questions that have come through in the chat. So earlier on in the session, Ben asked, what qualities are you looking for for the most in potential engineers? So Booking, who would like to answer?
I would like to take that one, and it links very much to what Carly and Ellie were saying and me about the culture. So be prepared to learn, have a can-do attitude, right level of energy, be brave to try new things, don't be afraid to ask questions. Be creative, be a team player, and be prepared to have fun. I think these are, in a quick nutshell, the qualities that you're looking for future software engineer from Tech Returners program.
Oh, fantastic. Anyone else want to add anything to that, or may I just? Yeah, brilliant. So then we've got another question saying, how long is the assessment centre? So the assessment centre we do in 2 parts. So as Matt mentioned, we do an initial call with Matt and our team, and then we ask you to do a technical take-home task, and then the actual assessment is an hour-long pair programming exercise, and that includes just an introduction to what to expect and what the outcome is, and then an hour-long behavioural interview. They're not happening one after each other. They're usually either in the morning and then the afternoon, or even on 2 separate days. We're very accommodating to meet around people's requirements on timing as well. So overall, the 2-hour slots, but they don't have to be done at the same time period. So hopefully that helps. What is the job profile of the vacancy that Booking.com are seeking to fill through this program? Is it only back end, or is there other opportunities for front end developers?
I take this one.
Yeah, of course you can.
So the program's been set up to support back end development, but we're a big team and we've got lots of front end roles as well. So there will be the opportunity to, if you're successful and you show the aptitude for working in front end, there will be the opportunity to get further training to upskill you on that side as well, if that's something you're interested in.
Yeah, brilliant. And just to add on to that, our team, have experience in back end and also front end. So if you are successful, you've got a team of experts to help you along that and answer and prepare you for if you wanted to go for a front end role as well. I think that's everything. I hope everybody's enjoyed the session this afternoon. I certainly have learnt a lot. I'd just like to say thank you to everybody attending. Thank you for Booking.com and all your insights in terms of your onboarding, your roles or your different departments, to Carly and Ellie in terms of their returner insights, and also the Tech Returners team. Oh, we've just got another question pop in. I'll just quickly answer it because I'd like to obviously make sure I cover everything. Is the assessment exam related to the shortlisting of the candidates for the programme? So yeah, basically you'll go through the assessment process, and then you'll be selected as to whether you're going to be securing a place on the programme. Hope that answers it. If it doesn't answer it, please do. Best thing to do is just get in touch with one of our team, and we can answer any further questions. Or if you've not had the confidence to ask a question in this open forum, please do reach out. Matt is more than happy, and Emily, to answer any questions. I know it can be quite daunting typing on the chat, so we're all on hand to help and support you in that application process. I hope you found the information useful, and we can't wait to receive your applications. I know a few of you are already in the application process, so I hope you're enjoying it so far. Thank you to everybody, and we'll look forward to seeing you soon. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Go on, bye.